inviting us. I'm sorry about the fact that I wasn't able to get to the webinar through my own device. I've had to move to another location. I am very honored to be putting myself forward as a candidate in the leadership for the Green Party of Canada. And I am running with my partner, Jonathan Peignot, and the two of us have a plan to make the party as effective and forceful as we've ever been, better and stronger, and electing more Greens. Thank you.
Light plugged in. See if I can get her up.
Okay, Anna.
Salut tout le monde, c'est un plaisir d'être ici avec vous ce soir. J'ai une soft spot dans ma cœur pour le borough of NDG. C'est là-bas où ma belle famille habitait. I live on Prince Edward Island. I'm a former president of the PEI Green Party. I've run twice in the last 2 federal elections, made in the top 6 candidates both times. And of course, I'm entering this race on a co-leadership platform with Chad Walcott, who I believe the NDG Association knows very well. So thank you.
Okay, let's go to Simon.
Oui, bonjour tout le monde. Merci d'avoir organisé ce débat. Donc, Simon Gnocchini-Messier, je suis natif du Québec, des cantons de l'Est, pour être exact. Je me présente à la chefferie du Parti vert en tant que social-démocrate. Donc, toutes mes politiques, mes idées de politique sont basées sur la social-démocratie. Je crois que le Parti vert a toute son importance et qui doit occuper de plus en plus de place à la Chambre des communes. Et c'est ce sur quoi j'ai l'intention de travailler avec mes collègues ou si je suis élu en tant que chef. Merci.
OK. Jonathan?
Un grand merci à NDG Westmount, NDG d'organiser cet événement. Je suis un gars du Québec, du Lac-Saint-Jean, from Lac-Saint-Jean, from the South Shore of Montreal and Lac-Saint-Jean. Elizabeth and I are running to ensure and make sure that this party wins more seats, regains its financial stability, is able to garner as much positive attention as possible in the media. Après 14 ans comme journaliste et enquêteur dans le domaine des droits humains un peu partout à l'étranger, je suis de retour au Canada pour faire une différence. Je pense que c'est important qu'on ait un parti fort, vert fort à Ottawa. Donc, merci.
Merci. Chad?
Bonjour tout le monde. Bonjour tout le monde. Hi, everyone. It's good to be technically back home, although I'm joining you from New Brunswick today. Super proud of the NDG Westmount EDA. As leader and as a team with Anna Keenan here, I want to continue the work of building strong processes and strong structures that we had begun in NDG over the past 2 years when I was a CEO before passing the reins on to V and the wonderful team there at the NDG Westmount EDA. I want to continue doing that work of building structures, making sure members have a chance to participate fully in the processes of governance of the party and taking the party to the next level. Merci.
Thank you. Sarah?
Bonsoir tous. Je voudrais améliorer votre expérience, plus intéressant, plus amusant, et avec plus en plus confiance. My goal is to enhance your experience as a member, more interesting, more fun, and always growing your confidence in the party. And I'm coming to you tonight from King Township. That's just a bit north of Toronto, and it's very close to where I grew up. So I'm visiting with friends and family, and most particularly here with a lot of help from the Green family.
Okay, thank you, everybody. So let's cut to the chase, go to the questions. The first question is, what unites all Green parties is the 6 values of the Global Green Charter: ecological wisdom, social justice, participatory democracy, nonviolence, sustainability, and respect for diversity. Which value do you identify with most, and how will it guide your leadership? Okay, we're going to start with Sarah this time around.
I've always identified with participatory democracy the most as a member. Starting in 2005, I was very happy to participate in our member-led policy process. And that's one of the main reasons I'm running for leader, is over the years, I've seen our member-led policy process fall into the shadows. It's hard to find on our website. We've always been talking since 2005 about a living policy process. And yet we haven't seen it happen. So I'm proposing policy table talks that any member can attend. Your shadow cabinet representative will be there. I'm proposing a new system of using our member-led policy book with your leader and shadow cabinet in a way that's very transparent. And you can see evidence of that on my website. My platform, my outward-facing political platform has been available since the first week of the race. And I'm also hoping to host monthly green table talks where we'll talk philosophy. And so one topic will be, for example, what is eco-socialism? And so another key principle that's come up for me as I was developing my policy was nonviolence. And I feel like our overall, I want to grow our confidence as members. And that part of that for me is getting back to that nonviolence messaging. Merci bien.
Thank you. Let's go now to Elizabeth May.
So I now have the explanation. It turns out my link was corrupt. So I'm glad to be finally able to fully join you all. I won't pull one value out from the others. And that's because these values, our Global Greens Charter, is drawn from the Earth Charter. And the Earth Charter is a document I had the honor to work on in the lead up to Rio and then after Rio. And it was actually a coincidence that there was an Australian Green helping us in the Earth Charter process. His name's Brendan Mackey. And when the Global Greens met for the first time in Canberra, Australia in 2001, we pulled, rather they did, out of the Earth Charter 6 core values. But the Earth Charter is a document with integrity that I think we have to refer to more often. The Earth Charter is intended to provide a way of living in human society, human to human, and also to redefine our relationship with Mother Earth. So it's how humans relate to the Earth, how humans relate to each other is the Earth Charter. And the Global Greens distilled from the Earth Charter these 6 core green values. I think they are integrated. I couldn't pull one out more than the other. And I'm a firm believer that if we follow our values and make decisions through consensus decision-making, working from the grassroots up at all times, so in that sense, I suppose I would agree with Sarah that grassroots democracy is critical, but so is nonviolence and the search for a culture of peace. So is rejecting consumerism. So is making sure that we relate to Mother Earth as family.
Thank you. Let's go to Anna.
Well, I feel the same way as Elizabeth, that they're all interconnected. And so it's hard to say that one is, most important than the others. But today I feel drawn to speak about sustainability. We were in a listening circle earlier today with the Indigenous Peoples Advisory Circle for the party. And one of the principles that they spoke about was thinking about 7 generations ahead. And sustainability is literally that. It's the ability to be sustained for an indefinite period of time. It means stepping outside of short-term and thinking about what will bring long-term benefit, even if it's harder or it takes longer to see that benefit. And sustainability has 3 aspects. I think of the triple bottom line very often. How can we be sustainable environmentally, so we're not depleting the natural world that sustains all life? How can we be sustainable socially and personally and in well-being? And so Chad and I had a very strong emphasis on health and wellness within our team, so we're not burning ourselves out during this campaign. I think I'm healthier now than at the start of the campaign, actually. And then in addition, financial sustainability or economic sustainability. So how are we making sure that we're not just making choices now that are going to put future generations into financial stress and strain and debt? And that ability to meet the needs of present generations without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs, that classic Brundtland report definition of what is sustainability, is something I definitely try to live by.
Thank you. Let's go to Simon.
Yes, thank you. So well, after what Elizabeth and Anna just said, that's also the way I think. It's very hard to just choose one of those principles. They all been taught to go together. That's what I feel, and they all also answer something that will help us go in the right direction. And I think that the first principle is, there's one that I find a little bit not more interesting, but That's very important. It's like the ecological wisdom that asks like us to change our way of thinking and to change the way of seeing ourselves in nature and stop thinking that we are at the top of the living thing and all the rest is under us. And I think that's very important, that we are part of nature, yes, we have strength, we have power, and we're very strong, but we need to understand that without nature, without the planet, we're nothing, and we don't exist without it. So I think it's a way of thinking, and after all the other social justice and how to live together, like nonviolence, participative democracy, that's so important. That's how we communicate, exchange, and make sure everybody's heard and could be influenced also. Because if we leave some people aside and we don't talk, they will get more marginalized and they will get worse. So that's what I think in a summary. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Jonathan?
I see the values of this party as a living ecosystem. You take one thing out and then the rest doesn't quite work. You take the river out of the forest and the trees will die. I think these values are crucial. We need to abide by them. We need to try and espouse them in our lives. Most of my life for the past 14, 15 years has been spent putting myself on the line, going to places where I thought I could make a difference by reporting on human rights violations and by fighting for people who didn't have the opportunity to have much of a voice because they were under the bombs or they were faced with critical dangers to their lives. But it's very interesting because over the past couple of years, I became much more attuned to the whole notion of ecological wisdom, which is not something that sadly in our societies we are very much learned to live or experience, especially if you grew up in a larger city. The chance to live for 2.5 years on an island called Svalbard, which is as far north as you can get, and it's a place where you're surrounded by mountains. You feel very small and you feel the movements of nature, how everything is interconnected and how small everything we experience in life actually is. It's so crucial that we revisit our social structures, our way of living, our expectations for life, so that they do become sustainable, so that we engage in a society and in an exercise of building a more just society and a fairer world as well.
Okay, thank you. Chad?
Thank you very much for the question, Robin. So I agree with everyone. All of these green values are interconnected. You can't really take one from the other, but certainly one that I lead with is participatory democracy. And I think in the work that we've done with the NDG Westmount EDA, it's something that we lead by, and it's a culture that we worked hard to instill within our membership in creating our board procedure document so that everyone understands what the commitment is in getting involved with the EDA, so that everyone's on the same page about what the responsibilities are, about opening up our committees so that members at large can come and pursue their interests and help move forward policy within our EDA is something that we've instilled in it. And it brings to the point of sustainability, allowing us to have a renewable leadership structure within our EDA. And these are things and concepts that Anna and I want to bring forward to the Green Party leadership, all the way at the top, all the way at the federal council, because at this point in time, these are things that are missing. We worked hard at the NDG Westmount EDA to put our minutes out to our members and ensure that all members know when meetings are happening. This is not something that's happening necessarily at the federal council. We need to ensure that members are aware of the decisions that are being made on their behalf and included in those decisions and have the ability to review them. We need to make sure that we're able to include them in our processes. And we need to lead with respect with one another. That for me is respect for diversity. We have diverse viewpoints in this party, but we've lost that piece of respect, and that has caused us to have a lot of conflict. We need to get back to that base.
Okay, merci. OK, pour la deuxième question, ça va être en français. Et donc, on va passer du Global Greens là au Québec. Au Québec, le Parti vert du Canada est vu comme une partie d'anglophones, ce qui est un obstacle important à l'élection de candidats d'ici. Comment proposez-vous de changer cette impression? On va commencer avec Anna.
Great. Well, au début, quand j'ai commencé à chercher une co-chef l'année passée, je savais que je voulais travailler avec quelqu'un qui vient du Québec parce que ce parti mérite quelqu'un à la tête qui peut parler avec la connaissance approfondie de l'expérience québécoise. Quand j'arrivais au Canada, j'ai habité à Montréal pour 1 an et demi. Et c'est grâce à le gouvernement de Québec que j'ai commencé mon apprentissage français. Mais je sais que c'est une communauté qui a besoin de l'attention. Et donc, je travaille avec Chad Walcott. Quand j'ai demandé à quelques membres du parti qui habitent au Québec, beaucoup à recommander oui à moi. Et je crois que si on a des candidats excellents et la bonne organisation dans les circonscriptions en Québec, on peut gagner beaucoup de sièges dans beaucoup de circonscriptions. Et j'espère que Simon et Jonathan et Chad aussi va contester la prochaine élection.
Merci. On va poursuivre avec Simon.
Oui, merci pour la question. On va parler français et puis on va faire valoir les politiques du Parti vert, on va les mettre de l'avant, on va les faire connaître parce que je pense que les Québécois sont prêts. Il y a déjà beaucoup de social-démocratie au Québec. On pense à ces entreprises d'État qui existent, que ce soit Hydro-Québec ou la SAQ ou la SAAQ. Donc, il y en a beaucoup, beaucoup. Donc, les gens sont ouverts à ça. On a vu qu'ils étaient ouverts aux idées de la justice sociale aussi quand le parti, le NPD a également remporté plusieurs sièges. Donc, il faut les respecter, il faut écouter les Québécois, il faut communiquer, échanger et puis continuer là, à faire valoir les politiques du Parti vert. Je pense que le Québec est prêt et mûr. Maintenant, il veut voir du professionnalisme, il veut avoir confiance. Et puis, je pense que les Québécois sont prêts là, à embarquer avec le Parti vert là, au niveau des idées, au niveau de tout ce qu'on met de l'avant. Je ne sais pas, je suis rendu à 1 minute 30, je ne vois pas. Oui, désolé, je ne l'avais pas sur mon écran. Désolé.
Pas grave. OK. Merci. Jonathan?
Les Québécois, ils n'aiment pas la chicane, ils n'aiment pas voir des organisations, la chicane n'est pas nue dans la cabane. C'est important d'avoir, d'abord et avant tout, de mettre un peu d'ordre dans nos affaires à l'interne si on veut que les Québécois nous fassent confiance. Mais après ça, c'est aussi important de communiquer avec les Québécois en français. C'est pour ça qu'Élisabeth et moi faisons ça ensemble. On a bon espoir de pouvoir rejoindre les Québécois. Élisabeth est déjà connue de la grande majorité des Québécois qui la connaissent, entre autres, à travers différentes émissions, qui rit un petit peu de son accent des fois, mais de manière gentille. Moi, je suis un gars dont la famille vient des régions. Puis je pense que c'est important aussi d'avoir un discours politique qui peut rejoindre les gens à l'extérieur de l'île de Montréal. Les politiques environnementales, la transition écologique doit se faire en ayant les régions de notre bord. Puis c'est important d'avoir un discours qui sort du plateau, qui sort de Westmount NDG. Il faut pouvoir rejoindre les Québécois francophones là où ils se trouvent. Le Québec est une province qui d'abord connaît le modèle de co-leadership, donc ce ne sera pas nouveau pour les Québécois, mais de plus, c'est aussi une province où on a eu par le passé un parti à idée unique qui était de faire l'indépendance du Québec et ça a pogné puis ça a fait shifter le discours politique au Québec. Je pense que le Parti vert peut être en mesure de aussi rediriger l'attention puis le clivage politique au Québec en mettant l'emphase sur l'environnement. Avec le derecho, avec Fiona, avec plein de tempêtes, les Québécois sont au courant de la crise puis veulent de l'action à Ottawa.
Si. Chad?
Parfait, oui. Donc, je pense que le parti a bien fait de débuter avec le besoin d'avoir un français minimum pour les candidats à la chefferie ici présents. Je pense que ça a envoyé un message clair aux Québécois qu'on prend la province au sérieux. Je pense que le travail que l'PVC a fait dans les dernières années pour améliorer le bilinguisme dans le parti fait en sorte que ça montre encore une fois que le Québec est respecté par le Parti vert du Canada. Puis c'est du travail qu'on doit continuer à faire absolument pour aller grandir notre base au Québec. On doit s'allier et reconnaître et consulter avec leur QPVC parce qu'on est 38 associations partout au Québec qui connaissent le terrain puis savent qu'est-ce qui va passer, qu'est-ce qui ne va pas passer dans la province du Québec. Donc, on doit s'assurer que les connexions et les lignes de discours sont ouvertes et qu'on se tient sur un pied d'égalité. En tant que chef, moi, Piana, on va certainement garder les lignes ouvertes avec leur QPVC pour garder notre oreille sur le terrain puis savoir garder le pouls de la province. C'est sûr que moi, en tant qu'ancien membre de la QPVC et de NDG Westmount, je connais très bien les gens qui travaillent très fort pour assurer que le Québec est bien représenté au sein du Parti vert du Canada. Et c'est un travail que je vais continuer à faire aux côtés de Vie, de Robin, de Mario, de Nat et de tous les gens présents. Là. Je pense à Aline, je pense à tous les gens qui font partie de la QPVC. Donc, on continue le travail.
OK, merci. Elisabeth?
Merci. Ah oui, à mon avis, nous avons la grande aide de plusieurs des Verts au Québec, particulièrement mon ancien chef adjoint, Daniel Green. Nous avons fait les efforts toujours de bien sensibiliser tout le Parti vert du Canada avec les enjeux québécois. Mais nous avons en passé le problème, c'est qu'il y a un grand écart entre le moment en octobre 2020, quand les deux chefs adjoints sont congédiés. Il n'y a pas un chef adjoint pour le Parti vert du Canada jusqu'au printemps 2022, grâce à notre chef intérim, Amita Kuttner. Nous avons profité d'avoir Luc Jolicoeur qui a fait un très bon job. Mais toujours, on doit avoir les porte-paroles forts, comme évidemment Jonathan Thainaut, qui était un jeune homme québécois, né au Québec et francophone. C'est tellement important parce que c'est une différence que les Québécois sont aussi, il y a les sensibilités avec les vrais Québécois et les francophones. Mais nous avons un problème en passé aussi avec l'équipe à Ottawa quand nous n'avons pas les gens francophones dans notre bureau pour les messages courriels, pour les stratégies dans les campagnes. Nous avons eu les problèmes à cause de ça. On doit faire l'effort d'être et devenir vraiment bilingue dans toute notre organisation.
OK. Merci. Sarah?
Mais c'est vrai, c'était un grand problème les 17 ans passés que j'étais un membre, que beaucoup de choses étaient toujours en anglais. Mais je suis en agrément avec Chad que ce cours va le changer beaucoup. J'ai pour 3 semaines avant que le test pour entrer ce cours, j'ai étudié fort quand j'ai dormi. J'ai entendu les podcasts quand j'ai dormi pour apprendre la langue mieux. Et quel dommage que je ne suis pas au courant, mais j'essaie, comme toutes les verts, j'essaie toujours. S'il vous plaît, allez à notre site web pour le Leadership Race et allez tout à la droite. Et il y a la place pour notre politique que nous avons choisie juste l'année passée, 2020 entre 2021. Nous sommes en retard pour un nouveau processus, mais le dernier processus était très intéressant. Et les membres, en nous donnant une directive qui dit fais mieux, toujours les séances en français, s'il vous plaît, les minutes, les agendas, toujours pour les membres en français. Et moi, je pense que c'est une bonne idée. Et je veux vous présenter mon adjoint, mon choix pour adjoint, Christian Proul. Il est un francophone qui vient d'Ottawa.
Merci. Okay. For the third question, we're going back to English. I'll read it to you. Wealth inequality in Canada has been increasing for decades, and some members believe socialist policies can reduce that. Do you think the Green Party should take a more big tent approach or stand clearly on the eco-socialist side of the political spectrum? And we're going to start with Elizabeth here.
Thank you. It's not for the leader to make those decisions. So that's the first thing to say. The leader of the Green Party is the chief spokesperson for the party and does not determine where we position ourselves. That said, I've always been a left person. I in the last election, I had to say to them, if you're going to win, not the last election, I led the party in 2019. They said, not left, not right, forward together. I said, I hate that. I really hate that slogan. If you're going to use it, and they insisted. And I said, well, then don't expect me to ever say it. I don't know our values, the Earth Charter, and going back to our principles and our policies. We were the first party to call for guaranteed livable income, to eliminate poverty. We have very strong social justice policies. And because of our, I think, poor communications strategies, we've allowed the NDP to position us as conservatives who recycle. That's absolute nonsense. We have always been left. We should try, I think, and the Green parties around the world are known for that. So I don't know why we have hesitated to make that clear. But it is up to the members to decide if we want to strike a position that says we're eco-socialists or we want to put a label on ourselves. I think the important thing is to say we're principled, we're ethical, we're hardworking, and we're working for the survival of a living biosphere and all the creatures on it. And that is, I think, fundamental to who we are.
Okay, thank you. Anna?
Well, great question. I think people have, and I've experienced this during the leadership race, that people have different understandings of what eco-socialist means. And I find that generally people under 40 have a very positive view of the term eco-socialism. I myself am under 40. I find it quite comfortable to use that term to describe my own stances. I believe in having, the sort of donut economics of like a minimum guaranteed livable income for all, and having limits on wealth at the top, and then there can be free enterprise and markets between those boundaries. But I also know that some people who are older have said, I'm very uncomfortable with the term socialism because it has connotations of communism and authoritarianism, and that's something that they want to avoid. And so generally I find that it's less of a useful term to lead with, but people are inspired by the values that we bring forward as Greens. We've always been at the vanguard of social justice. We've always been at the vanguard of calling for a caring economy that puts people ahead of profit, for not being afraid to regulate and put ecological and social regulations around enterprise and business. And so I believe that is a socialist position. It is a position that is of the left. We need to clearly say we are members of the modern left, but we will always speak with respect with those people who may be from the conservative side and who are looking for a new home, especially as their New Deal leader becomes ever more polarizing.
Okay, thank
What
you.
to say, I'll have to leave it there.
Okay, let's go to Sarah.
I agree wholeheartedly with Anna that in speaking with members, you'll find that the term eco-socialist means widely different things to different members. And I was just in an eco-socialist small Facebook group proposing this idea, and it was resonating that once a month I will be helping to convene green policy talks, green table talks, where the topic will be that any member can attend, and the topic will be, what is eco-socialism? And it is a new movement that has a lot of energy to it, and I believe that it does behoove us as Greens to define it. Philosophy matters, particularly when the human family finds itself in times of great crisis, and Greens do. That's what I was saying at the beginning, that I hope to make your experience as members more interesting. And so those table talks, those green table talks where we talk about what is eco-socialism, are important. And I sort of disagree with Elizabeth, because I believe that in the leadership race, it is our duty to be really transparent with members and tell them what our personal philosophy is. So, and I'm very open with that at the beginning of my platform. My personal philosophy belongs to an even newer school of philosophy called Deep Green, which a lot of us believe that we need a system that puts nature at the center and is 7 generations thinking. They were not just planning 5 years in the future, but 150, 250 years in the future. Merci, miigwech.
Thank you. Jonathan?
Elizabeth did mention that she is on the left, and so am I, and so is the Green Party generally. This way of thinking is interesting. It may appear new, but it's also very old, and it very much touches on the basic fundamentals of Greek philosophy and Stoicism as well. On economics, capitalism is built on the accumulation of capital, and that capital is created by adding additional value to something that already exists, and that is often done by creating scarcity. We live in a model, in an economy that is extractivist, and that needs to stop because there are planetary boundaries which we cannot overshoot, and we keep on overshooting them, and we keep on making billionaires richer and richer and richer. And Canada is no different in that way than other Western societies who have built their economic stability, their wealth on the basis of exploitation and extraction, often in other countries and often on the back of the very people that are now suffering the most from the climate emergency. So we need to be very clear on the fact that the Green Party is a party that needs and will reform the economy to make sure that the economy continues to live within these planetary boundaries. We are also very much active on the front of the basic livable income, which is crucial if we are to have a society where people can participate, but also spend time with their loved ones, spend time with in their communities, and build the green future alongside their fellow citizens.
Okay, thank you. Simon?
Yes, so I agree with my colleagues here, and I think what we need is a social democracy. I think that's all we call that. So a government that step in and that will make sure that they won't be like some big corporation who take control of different fields of the economy and just do whatever they want and accumulate capital, like Jonathan was saying. And that's how we do that. We take with the states, with the government who goes in the field that are the most important and others, and make sure that we don't leave all those areas to the private company and just a couple of investors who are making all the profit. And we need to use those companies to make sure we redistribute that profit and in the community with better social services and minimum wage and all those things, but that we need to transform capitalism, and that's how we do that. It's the government that step forward and take more and more space and make sure that there's a real competition and doesn't leave all the field to those big corporations like we see in the pharmaceutical area, where it's all private company and they all taking the money of the public and they're just doing whatever they want. Like Canada or the provinces could create their own company who are going to manufacture it and do some medical products. So it's and there's different area I was talking about.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I always forget he's not on my. Okay, I'm sorry, Andrew. I have to put you back on my screen.
Chad?
Cool, thank you. Anna said it before, we identify as part of the modern left. We're unapologetically progressive. The leader may not make all of the policy, as Elizabeth was saying, for the party, but the leader is responsible for choosing the policy that we go to election with. And so Anna and I believe that it's important that the Green Party positions itself squarely on the left of the spectrum and pushes for things like the well-being economy, pushes for bold climate action, and pushes for deepening our democracy. When it comes to the specific titles that we wear, Anna mentioned it quite nicely. We do have to appeal to a broad spectrum of society. So labeling ourselves one way or another isn't necessarily helpful, but I'll tell you this. I ran in 2018 as an eco-socialist with an eco-socialist party. I was able to get the best score since Peter McQueen. Those of you in NDG will know who that is, the local city councillor for NDG, who got 15%. But and that record still stands after the last election, because people do respond to social policies that help them, right? And that's what we need to lead with. And these are the policies that Anna and I have chosen to put forward in our policy platform. And again, the three themes: a well-being economy, deepening our democracy, and bold ecological action or bold climate action. And we need to make space for everyone in our party. We need to give an opportunity to all the different groups in our party to have a chance to make their policy priorities the party's policies, and we plan to give them the resources to do that.
OK, merci. Alors, pour la quatrième question, on revient au français. La question est un peu complexe parce que la situation est un peu compliquée. Je le lis. L'adoption de la loi 21 qui interdit aux employés de l'État, y compris les juges, les policiers et les enseignants, de porter des signes visibles de leur adhérence à une religion, et de la loi 96 qui renforce la charte de la langue française, notamment en limitant le nombre d'inscriptions d'allophones au cégep anglophone et en imposant l'usage du français aux entreprises de plus de 25 employés, a créé des controverses au Québec et au Canada. Certaines personnes disent que ces lois ne respectent pas la Charte des droits et libertés du Canada et souhaitent les contester à la Cour suprême. Selon vous, le Parti vert du Canada devrait-il prendre une position sur l'adoption de ces deux lois et si oui, laquelle? Alors, on va commencer avec Chad.
Parfait, merci pour la question. Donc, je vais commencer avec la loi que je trouve complètement aberrante, qui est la loi 21. Cette loi est intrinsèquement discriminatoire. Pourquoi? Parce que ça prive la possibilité de minorités religieuses de pratiquer leur emploi. Puis c'est quelque chose qui affecte de façon disproportionnée les communautés musulmanes et les femmes musulmanes en particulier. Je pense que la valeur de la laïcité au Québec, c'est quelque chose que plusieurs et la majorité des gens tiennent à cœur. Cependant, je pense qu'on peut faire la laïcité sans priver les gens de leur droit de travailler, d'avoir un emploi d'avoir un emploi tout court. Sur le point de la loi 96, c'est un peu plus mitigé. C'est sûr que le parti, la CAQ, a fait avancer cette loi de façon divisive et a fait valoir les critères punitifs de la loi. Cependant, avoir travaillé sur cette loi, l'avoir étudiée en profondeur, il y a quand même des bénéfices à aller voir pour la communauté anglophone en particulier, d'apprendre le français, notamment les subventions pour les cours de français au travail et les cours gratuits qui, selon ce qu'on me dit du gouvernement de la CAQ, devraient être implémentés en mars 2023. Donc, c'est sûr qu'en temps d'élection, ils ont utilisé cette loi en tant que politique divisive. Je pense qu'on peut aller chercher les bonbons dedans et travailler à mitiger les points plus.
Merci. Elisabeth?
Merci. Ça, c'est une question tellement difficile pour tout notre pays. C'est clair que nous attendons la décision de la Cour suprême du Canada. Qu'est-ce que c'est l'impact de la loi 21 sur notre charte de droits et libertés? Mais à mon avis, je pense que c'est contre la charte de droits et libertés d'avoir une loi comme ça, comme Chad a dit, un professeur qui n'est pas avoir un emploi si elle apporte un hijab. C'est contre les musulmans, mais c'est contre les autres personnes. Avec les symboles qui ne sont pas dans la laïcité. Mais on doit aussi souvenir que les politiques du Québec sont tout à fait différentes. L'histoire au Québec, la période du Duplessis, le rôle des religions organisées est fort et contre la vraie démocratie au Québec. Il y a une histoire ici tellement compliquée. Aussi, pour moi, je pense que c'est très important pour les chefs du Parti vert du Canada de faire une rencontre fréquemment avec l'aile québécoise du Parti vert du Canada pour apprendre et pour écouter leurs concerns comme l'aile québécoise. La québécoise, pardon.
Merci. Anna?
Oui, je crois que le Parti vert devrait avoir une position sur ce sujet. Ce n'est pas seulement une issue pour les provinces du Québec, mais c'est une issue sur le droit humain des Canadiens. Et Chad et moi serions prêts à proposer une position à la prochaine Assemblée générale. Nous sommes tous les deux fortement opposés à la loi 21, tout comme la grande majorité des personnes jeunes au Québec. Le sondage montre qu'il existe une force générationnelle sur cette question et il est clair que l'avenir est à l'inclusion et au respect de la diversité religieuse. C'est là que le Parti vert du Canada devrait se positionner. Donc, dans la direction d'un avenir plus inclusif et c'est quoi qui est en accord avec les valeurs de la Charte vert mondiale et de le respect de la diversité, les droits humains. Nous devons être activement anti-racistes. Et si le Québec veut être une société laïque, commencez par enlever la croix au sommet de Montréal, renommer chaque rue qui porte le nom d'une sainte catholique, supprimer les chefferies religieuses et ne reconnaissez que le congé civique. Ne commence pas par la réglementation de le vêtement des professionnels.
Merci. Jonathan?
C'est un enjeu qui est provincial. Nous sommes un parti fédéral. Il y a une constitution au Canada. Et là, ce qui se passe, c'est que le gouvernement du Québec a décidé de faire usage de la clause dérogatoire de la même manière qu'on a décidé de le faire en Ontario. C'est quelque chose qui est problématique à travers le pays quand des gouvernements peuvent décider pour des impératifs politiques, électoralistes, nationalistes ou quels qu'ils soient, d'utiliser la clause dérogatoire pour brimer les droits de quelque minorité que ce soit. Moi, ce qui est important, puisque j'aimerais voir ce sur quoi j'aimerais voir le parti se positionner, c'est d'abord et avant tout, pas de faire du cas par cas, mais d'avoir une position très claire sur les conditions lors desquelles la clause dérogatoire peut être utilisée dans le contexte de la Charte des droits et libertés fédérale. Là, il y a un recours devant la Cour d'appel présentement. C'est intéressant de voir quels sont les résultats. Ça risque effectivement de se rendre en Cour suprême. On en verra les résultats. Mais il faut aussi avoir un discours, je pense, de la part du Parti vert qui rejoint les Québécois. Puis ce serait bien qu'on rappelle aux Québécois, puis les colons français qui sont arrivés en Nouvelle-France, on s'en rappelle, en grande partie, pas tous, mais en grande partie, fuyaient cet autoritarisme royal en France, très catholique, très ci, très ça. Après ça, sont arrivés les curés qui sont devenus des instruments de préservation de la langue, puis après ça, on s'en est libérés. Ce laïcisme-là, il est particulier à l'histoire québécoise, l'histoire d'une minorité au sein de la Fédération canadienne. Ce serait bien que cette minorité-là ait cette sensibilité face aux autres minorités qui sont au sein de la province.
Merci. OK. Sarah?
Avec les lois 21, je pense que tous sommes en agrément, mais voici un point important, que nous avons une politique que les membres ont fait qui dit le même que tout, que nous aimons et nous avons le respect des lois de langue et de culture du Québec, mais juste presque il cassait les droits, comme Elisabeth a dit, les droits des minorités. Alors, avec notre loi, notre constitution, les politiciens, les spokespersons pour le parti ne peuvent pas casser les politiques ne peuvent pas parler contre les politiques du membre. Alors, je pense que ce politique était fait au 2014, je dois le chercher. Alors, avec la loi 96, c'est la décision du Québec, mais je pense que la tension est parce qu'il y a plusieurs anglophones qui veulent habiter aux belles provinces parce que c'est joli là, c'est moins cher c'est le plus moins cher pour les appartements de tout le pays. Et il y a plusieurs des anglophones là et c'est leur décision et peut-être avec ce loi, les anglophones vont quitter la belle province.
OK. Merci. Simon?
Simon.
Non, on n'entend pas.
Ah, désolé. Donc, question délicate. Oui, ça touche l'histoire du Québec, l'histoire des francophones, la religion catholique qui était omniprésente. Moi, mon grand-père sa mère, elle a eu 21 grossesses, donc c'était pas parce qu'elle le voulait, là, c'est la religion qui rentrait dans la maison, le curé qui disait « ta femme n'est pas enceinte, elle fait pas ton devoir ». Donc, il y a une relation avec la religion qu'on a décidé de renverser, de mettre de côté, d'éliminer. Donc, penser que parce qu'une croix sur une montagne, ça représente les valeurs du peuple québécois, c'est de ne pas connaître le Québec puis les francophones du Québec. Parce que présentement, si vous allez dans les églises, elles sont vides. Il n'y a plus personne qui pratique pratiquement le catholicisme. On les compte sur une main. Alors, est-ce qu'on va jeter toute l'histoire parce qu'on est en train de renverser nos valeurs puis de passer à autre chose puis innover? Ben, je ne crois pas. Il faut garder l'histoire, elle est là, il faut se souvenir, on veut aller vers autre chose, mais on ne va pas éliminer tout ça. Donc, c'est une chose de garder l'histoire, c'en est une autre de vouloir créer une société laïque. Alors, c'est un champ de compétences provincial. On est dans une démocratie, les tribunaux sont là, les gens qui sont en désaccord font valoir leurs points. Ça va devant les tribunaux. On verra ce que les tribunaux vont décider.
OK, merci. Okay, that's it for the general questions. Now we're going to put you a little bit more on the spot, and we're going to start with Chad. I'm going to ask all these questions in English, but you can feel free to answer in French if you desire. Okay, recently the federal NDP accepted to support the minority Liberal government on the condition that a couple of issues it had been championing, that is universal dental care and a national pharmaceutical policy, would become priorities for the reigning party. If you found yourself in a balance of power situation, what policy priorities, if any, would you propose as a condition of support for the party in power?
Thank you very much for this question, Robin. It's right in our wheelhouse. For Anna and I, it's clear the red line for any negotiation for supply and confidence agreement would be proportional representation. That is something that is the linchpin of our policy priorities. If any progress that we make on bold climate action, building a well-being economy, or deepening our democracy is to survive the next conservative majority or the whims of the next liberal majority, we have to have proportional representation, because that is the only way to keep policies sustainable, and policy stability is through proportional representation. And that would be our red line in the sand, that we would not enter any negotiation if we had the balance of power that did not include proportional representation, and we would feel absolutely confident sending Canadians back to an election on that issue. In fact, Anna over here, champion of proportional representation, ran a plebiscite and won on the question of proportional representation. And because the Liberal governments in PEI decided to renege on moving forward with that policy, they lost 20% support, and the Green Party of PEI is now the official opposition because of it. La représentation proportionnelle est essentielle pour le futur de notre démocratie. On a besoin d'un gouvernement qui ressemble au Canada, qui a des représentants de partout au Canada de façon proportionnelle, et c'est là où on met la ligne rouge pour les négociations. Merci.
Thank you very much. By the way, you're going to have 1 minute to go, concluding remarks. So if any of these questions appeal to you, if you want to react to something that was not a question that was not asked, you can always take that a little bit of an opportunity at the end to do so. Okay, the second question goes to Anna. During a federal election, the leader of a provincial Green Party publicly criticized GPC policy, which is splitting the membership of that province and is starting to have a negative impact on the party as a whole, and seems also to be undermining your own leadership. How do you react?
I wonder which province this could hypothetically be about. I think that we need to work well in advance of an election to avoid such situations from ever arising. And we get to that point by building solidarity and alignment. And I think it's very unfortunate that over the last couple of years, the provincial parties, or at least the provincial parties where we have MLAs elected, have chosen actively, or they've had to choose to actively distance themselves from, frankly, the hot mess that the Green Party of Canada has been. We have been a reputational liability for them, and in order to protect their own strategic strength, they've needed to create distance. So the very first thing we need to do is to invest in strengthening our party's governance, making sure that it's not dependent on a single leader or a single personality and their network of friends to hold things together. Any individual should be able to leave the House and for the House to remain standing because the structure is strong. And that's the sort of work that Chad and I have both done in organizations we've been a part of governing in the past. I did that work as the president of the PEI Greens to set it up for success and build the foundation well so that when I left, the House would remain standing. And we need to do that sort of work, be able to create those alignments in advance of an election, build the solidarity, and then I believe that we would not see such situations arising in the first place.
Okay, thank you. The third question goes to Elizabeth. Let's imagine that in a given riding somewhere in Canada, polls suggested a Conservative win, but with the NDP a close second and the Greens in strong third place. In this riding, the Conservative candidate is supporting a development project that you know could be an environmental disaster. The NDP candidate has asked the Green Party to withdraw its candidacy to ensure that the project doesn't go through. Do you accept to negotiate with them?
It's not the leader's job to undercut a local candidate or a local EDA and even begin to contemplate such a thing. I never would have done such a thing when I was leader. When we had issues, we did have some controversies. We had EDAs wanting to step down to help somebody else. I would go into that situation and negotiate and try to build consensus. And 9 times out of 10, by providing the information that the local EDA might not have had, such as that the candidate they want to back down for doesn't have a chance, or that their strategy is flawed in some way, by working together, sharing the facts, we were over 9 times out of 10 able to say our candidate is running. We're running to win and we're not pulling back. There is no point in imagining for one single minute that it is worthwhile providing support to another party because we know they don't keep their word. I've been in Parliament when I've watched the whipped votes to make every single NDPer vote to bomb Libya when that was against their policies, to make every single Conservative vote that asbestos is safe, and watching Liberals vote for outrageous policies that were against their own platform. 2015 will be the last election held under first past the post. The examples are legion. We are a grassroots party. The leader doesn't negotiate away any candidate's right to run and any EDA's chance to build support locally.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the fourth question goes to Simon. Several environmental activist groups like Just Stop Oil and Extinction Rebellion are calling on the Green Party to agree in principle that the environmental crisis warrants stronger and more direct action, including acts of civil disobedience. Do you agree to support them publicly?
Do I agree to support them publicly? I think it's important to follow the rule. We're living in a democracy. I think that they could do some protestation, and like if everything that's legal, like I will support everything they want to do that's legal. And I think that's how things should be done in the country, in every country. Like we agree on rules, how to go out there and to tell our disagreement, and that we don't think the same way. So that's how I think, and that's how I will encourage them to do their protestation manifestation. So yeah, that's my position regarding all those groups, and I think that by doing so also they will increase public confidence in their message, and they will gain more support, and eventually they will make government and other party go forward and change the things that they want us to change. And I think that's the best way to do it. Did I pass? I don't see it. 15 seconds. So yeah,
okay,
that's my position regarding that question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, fifth question goes to Sarah. A Liberal MP has expressed interest in leaving their party to join the Greens. Outspoken and quite high profile, they are known to have a difficult personality, and you're worried that their presence in the GPC would be disruptive. At the same time, this would represent a significant gain for the party. Would you accept to meet with this person? And if so, what would you do to prepare?
I would definitely agree to meet with any person. The Green Party of Canada is a very colorful place, and we generally welcome extreme personalities on a regular basis. And so that's nothing new. We have a constitution, like I was saying earlier, that says that our members are not allowed to our spokespeople, our politicians are not allowed to contravene the member-made policy book. In effect, it is sort of like a whip, although we do have within, generally speaking, we do have a concept of no whipped votes, which we're very proud of. So that is that pinch point between what are our spokespeople allowed to do and not allowed to do. And that's why I keep coming back to our member-made policy process, our member-made policy book, and why I believe that it's at the center of our ability to grow in a strong way. All of the leaders need to be deeply familiar with it. We need to make it more accessible. We need to make it something that our shadow cabinet is familiar with. I already have a plan on how to reorganize it and make our use of it more transparent. And you can see all of it in my platform. I've been working towards this for 17 years. I do believe that it is our biggest weakness, that our leadership is not always showing that flow of information from the grassroots to the leader's office. And as Chad was saying, the way that we curate that member-made policy book has to be deeply transparent.
Okay.
And yes, so welcome, as long as you're willing to follow that rule.
Okay, thank you. Okay, last question. Okay, and this goes to Jonathan, obviously. A major company in Alberta's oil sands industry has announced a significant technological breakthrough. They claim that this technology will be able to efficiently produce blue hydrogen and capture 98% of the carbon dioxide emitted during the process. Sequestering the CO2 in a stable underground location, which they also claim to have found, will provide a virtually permanent solution to any pollution issues. The Alberta government is strongly pushing for this development. How do you react?
Well, I resign. I mean, the climate crisis is resolved. God, I mean, yeah. No, come on. I mean, I'm sorry, but we keep hearing this from look, I believe in technology, and I think there is a need for research and development. I think there's an awful lot of amazing green technologies out there right now. Elizabeth and I have discussed how Alberta is fertile ground for heat. Sorry, now the word in English escapes me, but the ground energy, which is not oil, but based on that. Sorry about that.
Geothermal, I think is what you're looking.
Thank you, geothermal. So there are several alternatives, and technology is needed. But let us be very clear and let us be very direct with Canadians here. There is no magical wand to get ourselves out of the climate crisis. We need to reduce our emissions. We need to revise our way of living. We need to make some sacrifices. We've been living like fat cats, in effect, as a country for a very long time, and on the back of several other nations, including people in this very country. So it's very, it's high time that we espouse our green values. Redistribution is key if we are to create a fair Canada where social justice exists, and preserve the planet for future generations. So, let's invest in research and development, but let's not fall like fools for this kind of magical thinking. That's not us. Okay, thank you very much. Well, I'm impressed, I must say. I mean, you can think on your feet, everybody. Okay, now we're coming to the closing remarks. So everybody has a minute. Like I say, if you want to you're free to close the way you wish. We're gonna start with Elizabeth and then go to Jonathan.
Is it 1 minute?
Yep.
Oui, je vais commencer avec une idée, un principe tellement important. On doit être clair. Qu'est-ce que c'est le rôle de chef ou des chefs du Parti vert du Canada? Ce n'est pas le boss n'est pas le dictateur, n'est pas le droit d'imaginer que c'est le choix du chef, qu'est-ce que c'est, les enjeux, principes pour une campagne. Non, c'est d'être le porte-parole et avec bonne chance d'avoir le rôle d'un quelqu'un qui peut inspirer les autres, travailler dur pour organiser sur le terrain. Look, to some of the questions, yeah, I got arrested fighting the Kinder Morgan pipeline, so I've committed civil disobedience. I think Greens should. I think we should do more. We have to be more radical. But I'll also say we need to have a leader in Parliament. I'm the only one, sad to say, so far elected to Parliament. We need to be more effective in the House, and with Jonathan Pigno and me together, we can get this party organized faster and more effectively than any other team on the ballot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Jonathan?
Déjà, un grand merci pour cette belle discussion. Je pense qu'on en arrive à un moment qui va être très difficile pour les membres, c'est de faire le choix entre plusieurs bonnes équipes. On a une très belle palette de candidats ici, des gens intelligents, brillants et surtout investis pour le bien-être du parti. I think we need to think about the next election, and we need to think about the fact that we stand in the middle of a climate emergency. We need to have strong action now, if not yesterday, if not 10 years ago. So I don't think we can afford any more delays. We need to quickly reorganize, stabilize our party, fundraise as much as possible, start the nomination process, attract great candidacies from throughout the country so that we stand ready for the next election. And if in the meantime, we are able to also attract MPs from other parties or MPs that might have left their own party already, then we need to double down on that and grow our caucus. The key here is to put pressure on the government so we have PR and climate action and a strong Canada abroad. Thank you.
Thank you. Simon? Oh, sorry, Anna. I have to follow my list here. Sorry, Anna.
On November 19, we have a chance to turn the page on the Green Party's past and to open a new chapter in the Green Party's future. And Chad and I are both organizers who have been around the party for some time. We've been committed to building the party at the base. We have grown the party in our provinces, which have historically not been a strong base for the party, but we are attracting support and attention from new areas of the country. We are speaking to different generational values than the party has ever spoken to before. And we believe that we have the capacity to expand the membership of this party and to truly engage all of those members in a process of participatory democracy, where instead of blaming and critiquing others for all of the ills in our society, we're actually taking responsibility for getting results. We would be honored to have everybody's support, and we very much thank the NDG Westmount EDA for hosting us this evening. Please, if you're interested in supporting our campaign in these last days, visit our website, donate or volunteer at keenanwalcott.ca.
Okay, thank you. Chad?
Thank you very much, Robin. So Anna and I bring 25 years of experience in nonprofit governance and conflict resolution to the table. We're both experienced campaigners and experienced mobilizers, and we know how to put pressure on the government, both from the inside and from the outside. And we're super excited as leaders to be able to continue to work with Elizabeth, who will remain in Parliament even when we win, to help us push forward bold climate action policies. But the fact is, on November 19th, we need to show Canadians that we can move forward with new leadership. Because if we cannot do that, then all the efforts that we have will fall by the wayside. And that's just the fact. There's no story of a comeback kid. It's a story of a new, bold, dynamic leadership for the Green Party. And that's the only way we move forward. Anna and I are excited at the opportunity to take the party to the next level, to invest in our capacity through our EDAs, to invest in our capacity through our membership, to create a stronger party built on a foundation that has stronger democracy and better inclusion. So looking forward to having your support.
Okay, thank you. Simon?
Oui, le Parti vert a besoin d'un nouveau leadership. Le Parti vert doit regagner la confiance du public. Le Parti vert doit regagner des comtés qu'il a perdus aux dernières élections. Paul Manley doit revenir. On doit aussi reprendre le siège au Nouveau-Brunswick. Et puis, on doit faire des gains. Et le Québec est prêt, est mûr. Mais il faut savoir parler aux Québécois. Ils sont ouverts d'esprit, ils cherchent à innover et ils ne veulent pas se faire dire qu'ils ne savent pas faire, qu'ils se sont trompés, qu'ils n'ont pas pris la bonne direction, qu'ils sont des gens discriminatoires, qui discriminent, qui sont racistes. Non, il faut savoir parler, il faut savoir écouter, puis il faut savoir prendre les bonnes positions parce que le Parti vert peut faire beaucoup de gains au Québec et peut aller de l'avant et faire un bond et s'assurer d'être à la Chambre des communes, d'avoir plusieurs députés et d'avoir une plus grande influence.
Okay. And with the last word, Sarah.
But everyone, please go to the Green Party of Canada's YouTube page. And every time Elizabeth and Mike Morris make a new video, please support it. Please follow Elizabeth on Twitter and support her Twitter. It's important for us to really support our caucus. I'm hoping to provide them with bi-weekly coordinated hashtag campaigns. However, it does our membership a real disservice to not say that our members are the leaders in our communities. Our members have superpowers. We are doing small scale energy solutions in our communities now. We are working on local food security systems now. Greens are creating the infrastructures in Canadian cities, towns, and in rural areas. These are the infrastructures that future generations, those 7 generations in the future, they'll need those to survive and thrive in the era of climate change. And it's up to the Green Party of Canada leader to harvest those stories and then champion those on the national stage. And that's what I'll be doing through my policy table talks and my green talks. Merci pour tout. Merci pour le NDG Westmount for providing this event.
Well, thank you very much for participating. And I see that we've got 57 participants, which was actually more than we were expecting. So we're pretty happy. Of course, this has been recorded, so there might be many more people who are going to take a look at it later at a later date. But congratulations to all of you. My gosh, I don't know how you do it. I don't know, there's one debate after another. Thank you for asking our answering our questions. And this was a debate that's really at the image of NDG Westmount, bilingual. You have to function in at least 2, if not 3 or 4 languages in this riding. So thank you very much for participating, and good luck until the vote happens, and even beyond, of course. Okay, Vincent, did you want to have a last word? Mute. You're muted.
Bon, fallait bien que ça m'arrive. Donc, je vais juste répéter ce que Robin a dit. Donc, juste vous remercier d'avoir participé, puis de remercier les personnes qui ont écouté. Je ne vais pas prendre plus de votre temps. J'imagine que vous êtes tous très occupés. Vous avez des endroits à être. Donc, je vais vous souhaiter une belle soirée.
Merci pour ce soir, tout le monde. Merci.
Merci beaucoup.
À la prochaine semaine.
Merci. Au revoir.
À la prochaine.